he's going to snip off 007's little finger on the first wrong answer. And the second it goes off to cutting off his cock, I was like, Jesus!
Quite an escalation.
Yeah, I guess we'll skip to that because I was going to talk about how, like, they have sharks with freaking laser beams that come in for some reason. Like, they don't have laser beams, but, like...
Yeah. It's a classic scene of, like, why don't you just shoot them?
Yeah.
Like, set up an elaborate death for 'em.
It's essentially, it's like Austin Powers.
Right.
They put them on a thing and sharks are there and they're slowly lowering them in.
The overly elaborate dipping device.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Why?
Yeah.
So stupid.
Let me see here. Make sure the audio is actually moving. Oh, it is. Okay, that's the fucking thing right there. I was like...
no one was talking.
What'd you say?
Just no one was talking.
Yeah, I was like...
Is the audio working? Let's be quiet and find out.
5, 4, 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Suck it. Kiefer. Let's go home and watch Elvis Scared Stupid.
Elvis.
So this is the 93rd episode of the podcast.
Welcome.
Can you believe this?
93.
Yep. 92 is fine, but 93...
It's free.
Yeah. Technically, it's true. So, this week is, I guess, Agent Week.
Yeah,
Because we
there's a
have
theme there.
Jack of all trades and Live and Let Die. 73, and I was shocked Jack of all trades came out in 2000. So,
Why, did you think it was more 90s?
yeah, when I was watching it. Because it's like in that same camp with like Hercules and Xena.
Yeah.
So,
Briscoe County.
yeah.
Senior.
He's like,
Like Briscoe County's dad was Briscoe Country. It's like, wait a minute, what?
Briscoe County Senior. Did
I
they
guess
ever
it'd be
have,
Briscoe State.
Did they ever have like a Briscoe County like just show?
Junior? No.
No. Did they ever have like a Briscoe County Junior show? What? So yeah. We're talking.
Nice pairing.
Yeah. I don't know what that was completely not set up.
Yeah, spoilers for next week. There's no theme, so you went above and beyond this time.
On accident. The only time that things are actually paired up is in the October stuff, usually, or Halloween stuff. So this week, like I said, it's Weird Watches is Jack of all trades. So I guess we'll just get into that, unless you have anything else to
Yeah,
really
I'm
say
excited to talk
before
about Jack of all trades.
Ah, nice. Do you like the Lou logo here? We've got the TV set and the remote, and the VHS is behind it.
I'm like, whoa!
Yeah. I'm like, so, yeah, like, I think you had even said last week, if you were watching, I'm like, keep your notes, that you had actually had this on your list, right? As
Yeah,
well? Yeah.
because like this is one of those shows, and we'll talk about it, but like I was like, how have I not seen this before?
Yeah.
Because why is this not my favorite show?
I think a lot of people like that were Bruce Campbell fans probably are in that same boat. Where like either they had never heard of it, or they heard of it and just never.
I'd never even
watched
heard of it
until
until you
recently.
mentioned it maybe a year ago.
Yeah.
And then I got the DVD and it's just been sitting on my shelf waiting
Yeah.
for Weird Watches.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So would you say that this is a weird watch? It's like,
It's weird.
yeah, but
In a good way.
yeah. So this is a half-hour long like show, which actually I was shocked I didn't know it ran for 2 seasons. This seemed like one of those deals that even though I thought it was cool, like would have been like one and done.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the reason why it ran for more is because it was kind of like in that same vein with Xena, and it had like Sam Raimi, so they were doing good with those shows. So I think they like kind of got a little bit more rub onto this show to keep it alive, keep it on death's door for a bit.
Had a little bit of clout to keep it on.
But starring Bruce Campbell, with Cleopatra 2525, it formed the back-to-back action hour, with both shows were notable for being the first American non-animated action series since the 1970s.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's weird because they don't really make shows like this anymore.
Right, yeah.
I guess they kind of do. But
the show was canceled in the middle of its second season. But the setup for this is Bruce Campbell plays Jack Stiles, American spy stationed on a South Pacific island in the early 19th century, and he teams up with a no-nonsense British agent Amelia Rothschild to stop Napoleon's colonizing efforts. Jack's alter ego is the Zorro-esque Daring Dragoon. Which, this has probably got to be the only show or movie I've ever seen where the person that portrays, like, the hero is doing it out of, like, a legend and not creating it himself. I thought that was really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Not, like, weird, but it was just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, with Zorro, like, in the movie, like, Antonio Banderas takes over for the previous Zorro, but that guy, like, made Zorro. But in this, it's like, there's, like, a fairy tale. It'd be like if somebody today took over the mantle of, like, the myth of, like, King Arthur or, like, Robin Hood.
Yeah. Like, I'm Sherlock Holmes now.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, the game is afoot. Like in every TNG episode with Data. Well, not every episode. That would be awesome. So I guess, what do you think about it?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Like, it was hilarious. Bruce Campbell is, as usual, awesome.
Right.
I mean, it just makes you wish that he was a bigger star because, like, he's always great in everything.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But the thing that I loved the most was the opening theme.
Yes. Yeah.
That is so awesome. I just want that on a loop to watch it all day long. It's great.
Yeah.
Probably the best opening that we've watched. It even surpassed the Captain or the what's the Marvel show we watched with the great opening theme song?
Oh, you mean the PC Maker with John Cena?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that one was cool because it like
Peacemaker
was totally out of left field. I guess this was, I mean, then again, every show had, like, a theme song back in the day, but this was cool because it was like
I loved it, and after I saw it, I was like, I was gonna send you a text with, like, the video of it.
Yeah.
Be like, dude, where's this been all my life?
Yeah.
But there's no version online, like on YouTube.
Yeah.
The only one I could find was with, like, the video, but a dude's head singing along in the foreground.
Yeah, there's like an episode where you have to, like, that's the only way I've ever found it, is you have to go and find one of the episodes and just fast forward to the part where the thing starts. And that's it. Like, there's, like you said, it's weird that there's no just intro.
Mm-hmm.
If I could get away with it, I'd put it in here, but I'm pretty sure it would instantly be, like, taken down.
Only one way to find out.
Yeah, we'll see.
Give it a try.
But we do have the lyrics here. I'm like, I was able to find them. I actually didn't have to write these down. Someone had thankfully put them on the internet. But it's kind of like a. It starts off
it's like a march into battle.
Yeah, it's like, and it's like, in 1801, the revolution had been won, and Uncle Sam's favorite son had a job he needed done. It's like, so, I'm assuming they mean Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Which I guess he's
not Jack.
Yeah, Thomas Jack. He needed to do a job for himself, which brought Jack to a lady, both beautiful and smart, who found his mix intriguing. A scoundrel with a heart, and, like, everybody's like loving. This is the part that, like, I never knew what they said here, but I guess this is what they say. So they say, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, which I have no clue where either one of those places are, but there was never a leatherneck braver, a daring dragoon is he. He'll halt the bold advance of Napoleon's attack. There ain't a French or pirate rogue who don't know Jack. And then they go back and do the same thing. When you need a fighting man, you trust to watch your back. Just ask the bloke right next to you. And then a pirate says, damn right. It's Jack. And
he's right next to you.
And at the end, he's like, it's like he's in his own theme song. It's like, I was like, what else is, like the Ghostbusters are the only people besides this that I think are aware of their own theme song. That I mean, I'm sure there are others, but, like,
well, James Bond is.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. like 100 times. But in 2, they sing it, and in the music video, they're in the fucking music video. So, but yeah, this is awesome. You need to go out and watch this.
What did you think of the choice to make Bruce Campbell like kind of modern? Like he says, kind of like anachronistic stuff.
It reminded me of like the genie from Aladdin, like the Disney thing, where it's like he's pulling from stuff that hasn't happened yet, but he's like there's a part where he's being interrupted making out with this chick, and he's just like, beat it, turkey, I'm in the middle of some Thanksgiving. And it's like, I'm guessing that probably has already happened, right? Thanksgiving? But it's probably not. I don't think it's as, like, well known.
Yeah.
And then they open the door and it's Thomas Jefferson. Then Thomas Jefferson says, touch my niece and I'll have George Washington chop off your cherry tree.
Great line.
And he says, I don't have a cherry tree. And I was like, so, he like knocks 7 dudes out right at the beginning of this, like, and it's like reminds me of like a bad bunch of wrestlers running in to try to stop like Hulk Hogan or something. They all like attack him one by one, and he knocks the dude out with a punch, kick, punch, slap, double knee to the gut. So that's like the order of how that went. But yeah, this show was pretty. I don't know. I like you said, you enjoyed it and stuff.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to watching the rest of it. I hope it continues to be great.
Did you catch this though? Alex Kurtzman was the executive producer.
No, I didn't.
He actually executive produced 8 episodes of this show, 6 of Xena and 2 of Hercules.
Which I take back everything I said.
I thought was really interesting.
I'll have to not trash talk him as much.
But it was very, very early in his career,
yeah.
It seemed like. Bruce Campbell's a total, like, misogynist. And, like, well, not Bruce Campbell, the character, Jack Style, like, slander. But he's, like, flipping out, and he won't take orders from this lady that's like, telling him what to do. And she pulls out this, like, letter that, like, was written because the people in charge knew he wouldn't, like, listen to her, to a woman. But it just says, shut up and do what she says, and it's signed TJ. Like, Thomas Jefferson, like, he signed his name TJ, and I thought that was just like so like what the fuck. Like, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know, there's a lot you could say about this show, but it's also one of those things where like you kind of have to just watch it because
I mean it's popcorn munching.
Yeah.
It's like light entertainment. I'd say it's fun.
Yeah. What do you think about like the action in this, as far as like
it was okay.
Yeah, him like sword fighting or whatever.
It was okay.
Yeah.
I thought he did a little bit better in Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
It came a little away from this.
Yeah.
I mean, Bruce Campbell is one of the best physical like actors / comedians out there, so you really can't go wrong, especially if he's doing action-y type stuff.
We also had more executive producers. There were like 50 executive producers on the show, but like Sam Raimi and Rob Taper, or it says, were executive producers. I also found out when they like finally show Napoleon, he's played by Vern Troyer.
Dude,
so he's like literally like a foot tall. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely see going back, wanting to watch more and stuff. It's definitely like you said. It's one of those things where like I wouldn't watch this being like, oh, this is gonna be like my next like Breaking Bad or like my next whatever. It's like this is gonna be a show that like you watch an episode of and just kind of like while you're eating something.
Yeah,
it's not really like.
It reminded me a little bit of like kind of the same tone as not tone, but it just reminded me of the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles because basically you see like Indiana Jones interacting with historical figures,
right?
But that show's super boring and like the purpose is to educate.
Yeah.
Where this show, like, you're not going to learn anything. It's just fun entertainment. So.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like nothing of note really even happens.
Yeah.
Like stuff.
Just Bruce Campbell being funny and goofing around.
Yeah, but it's just like one of those deals where like it's like you said, it's a popcorn kind of deal.
Yep.
So
It's a popcorn classic. I give it 5 bags.
5 sandbags. I thought it was a misspelling, but I guess I always thought it was the dragon, but I guess it's like dragoon. So always since I was born. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say. Yeah.
For the return of Weird Watches.
The return.
It's back.
It's oh man, I just envision like eventually we're just gonna get to the point where like we're watching like the lowest of the low. I guess we already kind of have seen some of the lowest of the lows. So.
Yeah, ever heard of Puchinsky? Ain't gonna get much lower than that.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather watch something like that than something that's boring. And
Yes.
I think that's what we're gonna eventually get into. Is this boring shit? But okay. I guess, do you have anything else to say about Bruce Campbell? Just in general?
No, I'm a huge fan. Love him. Everything he does is great.
I don't have anything to say about him. He's just a jack of all trades.
I just watched Army of Darkness again recently. Hadn't seen it in a while, and it still holds up.
Yeah, we were going to watch that for the last week. And then
I realized, like, it's basically Bruce Campbell the movie. He's in every scene.
Yeah.
Most of the time, he's just by himself doing stuff.
Yeah.
Acting against special effects, and he's like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Not many people can do what he can. So,
not many people can do what he can't as well.
But I'm really excited to talk about Live and Let Die.
Ah, nice.
An inspired choice. So I know you've been wanting to pick a Bond movie.
Oh yeah.
So why'd you pick this one?
Because I remember really liking like Baron Samedi.
Yeah.
And I guess that's not really a reason to pick a Bond movie, but
you never need a reason to pick a Bond movie. They're all like, even the worst Bond movie is still highly entertaining. So maybe this is where we'll disagree.
Well, no. I think there are certain Bond movies that aren't super entertaining, but I do agree that the formula itself is solid as hell. But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely not. It's funny because it's definitely not my like favorite Roger Moore film.
Mine either.
Well, Bond film, I mean. And it's.
But I think we can both say that Roger Moore is our favorite Bond.
Yes.
Even more than Sean Connery.
Yeah.
He's the best.
My question is, like, I had a note here I just thought of today, but, like, why did they never make a James Bond film called More Than Enough? That sounds like a Bond title, though, doesn't it?
More Than Enough.
Yeah, doesn't it, though?
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, it's better than some of the other ones that they've come up with. I mean, I think at this point they hadn't run out of, like, Bond books to make, but I don't know.
What about More Raker?
Yo.
Just turn the N into a R, and you have
like the one in what is it, like
The More Who Love Me?
Like Moonraker in like Jane Silent Bob, where it's like an ass or something. It's like, okay. More Raker. Live and Let More. It's like, what? More and Let Die. But anyway, yeah. I guess, like, have we ever really talked about, like, why we like Roger Moore?
I think we have. Like, definitely we praised him.
This is the first time we've actually ever talked about a Roger Moore Bond film, though.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say, we praised him on our Folks episode.
Yeah.
For how awesome he is, but, like...
Live and let praise.
I mean, obviously, Sean Connery's great, too, right? We're not saying that he's not, but I think Roger Moore's movies are more enjoyable for me because the action was a little bit bigger. I just enjoy Roger Moore, like, he's funnier. He's great. I think I love him because he's just, like, super charismatic, fun to watch, he's funny, and cool. Like, the ultimate Bond.
For me, I think it's more so that, like, he went out of his way to make his Bond more of, like, a gentleman, and, like,
less of a brute.
Yeah, and, like, more sympathetic to, like, the woman cause, and to also, like, he did a lot more...
That's Maud Adams. He was slapping her around in one of them.
And to, I was like, well, if we want to compare Sean Connery versus
that was
Moore.
the one and only time he did that, and under protest.
But like also like his jokes, like he does a lot. He's like Spider-Man. He does a lot more quips in all of his films. Like there are ones in obviously like all the other ones, but it seems to like land a lot better in my opinion with Roger Moore. And I don't know. There's just something like obviously like Sean Connery was the first. He's kind of like Kirk. Like he's the first, and everybody. There's a lot of people out there that are just like he's the best because he's the first, and like he blazed the trail, obviously. But for my money, like I like, you know, more, and you know, just kind of like I like Picard more.
Yeah.
Kirk.
And I already loved, like, he was my favorite Bond, and then I found out, like, what a good person Roger Moore was. Like, he was super into charities, and like, he was like, big in UNICEF and stuff.
Yeah,
and, like,
you find all that stuff out after he died because he never told anybody.
Yeah, super awesome person in real life. So, yeah. Can't say enough good stuff about old Raj.
Old Raj. Roger Moore. But anyway.
They definitely got his name right. It's better than Roger Less. All right, take two.
They got his name right more than Roger Less. That's great.
I need to workshop that joke a little bit.
Live and Let Die. So this came out in like 73. It's based on the 54 novel of the same name. 8th film in the James Bond series. By Eon Productions, and the first to star Roger Moore as the fictional MI6 agent, James Bond. Or, as one of the taxi driver dudes calls him, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jim.
Jim. The producers had approached Sean Connery to return after Diamonds Are Forever. He declined, and a search for new actors led to Moore being signed.
Which I'll never be able to wrap my head around the fact that Roger Moore is older than Sean Connery.
Yeah, like, it does. Yeah.
How is it possible?
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yeah.
The truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
Sean Connery's last movie, he looks like a decrepit old man, and Roger Moore looks like a fresh-faced, sprightly young boy. Well, maybe not quite. He looks like a young man, like fresh. I think
he looks anything like a boy. I know what you mean. He's like, live and let. He's like, mama. When I was young, just 2 days ago. So James Bond is sent to a diabolically brilliant heroin magnate armed with a complex organization and a reliable psychic tarot card reader. So I think one of the things that kind of draws me to this is because like they make no bones about how like they actually, and even like at the last thing of this movie, they like kind of confirm that like in this world of, at least in the Roger Moore world, like there's like occult stuff that actually exists.
Yeah, this is the Bond movie where there's actually magic.
Yeah.
And
it's weird because like that takes a back seat to like the rather simple thing that this guy's just a like Bond villain sized drug peddler. Mm-hmm. Like he's
not trying to take over the world or cause World War III.
He's actually a more realistic Bond villain because he's like
one of the better ones in my opinion.
It's also played by one of the better actors they've ever had. I mean, obviously, like, you know, Donald Pleasance is awesome, and there's been a ton of other people, but he's legit, which, you know, he's also appeared on a previous episode. Has he not?
I'm trying to think.
One you picked? Truck Turner?
Oh, yeah, dude. How could I forget his death scene?
Yeah.
Like, the most ridiculous death scene of all time.
Yeah. But this movie was released during the height of the blaxploitation era, and you can definitely, when you're watching it, you feel it.
Yep.
It's like if Bond was put into a blaxploitation film. Mm-hmm.
I really like that.
Yeah, and it definitely feels, it's like if the lead of Truck Turner was James Bond, mm-hmm. because everyone else around him is like a black actor and stuff. Mm-hmm. Save for like Felix Leiter and stuff. But I think that's what makes it so like different and like unique, and like you said, like it's definitely not like my favorite, but it's not for any of the reasons I listed before.
Yeah. I think that's the cool thing about the Bond movies is like you can go back and revisit them and like they kind of the order can kind of change over time. Yeah. Because I know at one point this was one of my favorites. Yeah. And I think it's kind of gone down a little bit in my estimation, but it's still good. It's still good.
I think overall, like you were saying though, like the Bond films are awesome. It's just there are things about each one that I like, and there are things about each one that I don't love. Yeah. So, but it departs from the former plots of the James Bond films. Like we said, essentially it's just about like a dude that like is doing drug trafficking, focusing around like Harlem and New Orleans.
Mr. Big.
Yeah, as well as the Caribbean islands.
Played by Yaphet Kotto.
Yes. Yeah.
Who I mainly think of him from this movie and Alien.
Yeah.
But he's always great.
It was also the first James Bond film featuring an African-American Bond girl romantically involved with 007, Rosie Carver. Yeah. Who was played by Gloria Hendry.
I really liked her. I wish there was... We'll get into it, but like... I wish she wouldn't have been instantly killed.
Yeah.
She was great.
No, I agree. Because it's funny because watching this, I was thinking... Wait a minute, they kind of just took like a big part of this and put it in the last James Bond film. Yeah. With like the agent or whatever. Mm-hmm. They went a different way with it, obviously, but like, yeah. But it's no surprise the film was a box office success. I don't really know. Has there ever been a James Bond film that wasn't a box office success?
No. I mean, they all do well. But some are better.
Some are better than others, obviously, but yeah.
I'll try not to talk about this too much, but this was one of my dad's favorite of the Bond movies. And
I'm like, don't ever speak.
But he specifically talked about seeing this one in theaters, like opening night, and like it was like the Marvel movies now. Yeah. Like the audience was just going nuts. Yeah. Everything worked, and it was like a great experience.
Like the comic book was flipping, and Bond was like throwing his shield.
It's like you see those videos of people like jumping out of their seats.
Yeah.
Like, woo!
That's how Star Wars used to be. Because when we went and saw like Episode 1 and 2, and well, 3 not so much. People just kind of watched it, but like it's only because of what happened with 1 and 2. After 2, everybody fell asleep, but once again, back to Star Wars. That's awesome though. I mean, it's funny. Like I know there are things like that where like people, like our parents will talk about like, oh, we saw this film in theaters, and it's like the only way you could see that now is if they brought it back to like a Fathom event or something, but it's not the same because it's literally just going to be a bunch of older people like us that are like, hell yeah, like Bond, and so it's not like you're going to get a bunch of younger hit people that are in there and be like, hell yeah, man, Bond, like never seen this, flipping out and stuff. So
plus I think the humor was like, it worked really well for the time. Some of it not so much now. Some of it does, but
yeah, there's a lot of like slam dunk earnest stuff in here where it's like reverse racism on Bond. Where they're like calling him like honky and other stuff like that, or it's just part of the like you were saying, like the blaxploitation kind of deal. But let's see. Okay, I already talked about that.
So this movie, this one has the best song by far.
Oh right? Yeah, for sure.
Like it's not even close.
Well, it's also, I mean, it doesn't help that it was written by like a Beatle. Yeah. So like, I don't know. To me, yeah, it's hard to beat that.
Too bad Ringo never wrote one.
That's true. He's like, he should have written Octopussy Garden.
He's like, I'd like to be in Kananga's garden.
He's like, Octopussy's garden in the shade.
Dude, it's a slam dunk.
I know, right? Hey, it took me like 3 seconds to think of that.
But I love this theme song.
He's like, obviously. I'm warning you with peace and love, James Bond. Don't stop my plans.
Don't kill me.
Don't kill me. Oh yeah, it's awesome.
But
Roger Moore has a lot of awesome ones, I think.
Yeah. I would say the opening sequence is one of the worst because it's just like some random murders, and it's like, am I watching an episode of like Batman the TV?
You like switch locations. There's like 4 switches and like
it's very cheesy.
Yeah, it's like
one of the few openings that doesn't have Bond in it, and I'm like,
yeah, nope. Santa Monica and Island of the Caribbean. Forgot how many location changes they have in the first 4 minutes in this one.
So can you explain to me the funeral plan? The whole town is in on this assassination
of a guy.
Yeah, and
which they try later in the film, and it's a fake out.
Yeah, it even has the crying mom this. She's into her part.
Yeah,
as an actor.
Yeah, so they have that
most
New
elaborate
Orleans funeral. Whose funeral was it? Yours. Some random black dude with a mustache stabs him, and he they put a casket over him, and it somehow shuts and
scoops him up.
Yeah, and it's how did that work? Is there a little trap door that somehow gets under the dude, and I'd be worried that would not work correctly. It would pinch the clothes, or there'd be a little bit of his jacket.
Well, even if it didn't,
out.
Everyone's in on the murder, so no one would care.
Then what's the point in hiding it?
What's the point of all? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could say
it's unraveling.
Bond movies aren't about the plot; they're about other things. So.
Yeah. I don't think there's any to stand on with that argument. I was just yeah. I wrote this. James Bond shoots down a gun barrel into another gun barrel that the audience is in, and blood goes down the screen. So, if you've ever seen a James Bond intro, it happens in every single one that I can think of, at least. Except for I think the very first one, it's some random dude that shoots. So, you said, there's a bunch of different murders. Some dude gets killed by, an Atari sound. In the UN. This is very, sci-fi, where it's obviously Bond's always been about gadgets, but this is we're not going to even try to, explain what happened here. It just happened. And the guy just, falls over. Guy gets bitten by a snake when he's tied up, but I didn't even realize he got bitten at first, because he's yeah, and the snake's just nowhere near his face.
Yeah, it's oh
yeah. And then it's live and let die, and the guy's boom. I'm why not?
And then I forgot that George Martin did the score for this.
The
Beatles producer. So
yeah.
Another
Maybe that's why there's 50 versions of Live and Let Die in this that are all different.
Yeah.
Which I like, but
yeah.
It was
score.
I actually like that when they do that with Bond films, where they use the theme song in the movie, and I really like it when they use previous theme songs in that movie. They've done that a couple times. Whenever they do, I'm just okay, this movie's instantly awesome. Live and Let Die turns into a skull. So this intro, we're it's definitely a lot different than what they've done nowadays, and even previous Bonds Brosnan and stuff. This one's a bunch of nude women, flame effects. It's pretty much whatever they could get away with putting in front of a camera. It's pretty bare bones stuff, but it's it's effective, and it's essentially what made the James Bond brand and stuff like that. The James Bond brand, JBB. James Bond gets woken up with a start, and then a random 80-yard line saying, "Not married by any chance, are you?"
This is cool because it's one of the few times you get to go into Bond's apartment.
Yes,
and
yeah.
It's his apartment is sweet, dude. It's all wood paneling. And
I think that happens a couple times with the Roger Moore ones, at least from what I remember. At least that, or they show spots where he's living, even if it's because a lot of times, you were saying, maybe they'll set up somewhere, but a lot of times James Bond will the Connery ones, he spends very few minutes inside of his hotel room or whatever. This, it's yeah, like you said, you get to see his place. There's at least I remember there are other ones where even if it's not his place, it's he's doing stuff inside of his place or whatever. Which is cool, because I like that. It makes James Bond a actual person, and not just I think that's my only critique I've ever had about James Bond, is that as fun as it is to watch it and stuff, I like the ones where it's a little bit more relatable, like where he gets married and stuff like that. It's also fun, like just to have like adventures with him and stuff. But I kind of give him a little bit more praise when they do that. What'd you think about like James Bond like grinding the beans and stuff like that? Specifically, he was like making from scratch, like I guess this is maybe before instant coffee was even a thing, so he had to like grind
for the time
beans.
that was like M's like, is that going to go into space or something? Like
he was like, is that all it does?
Yeah.
And I was like, what an asshole! You barge into his fucking house and you're kind of acting like a fucking twat. I don't know. He kind of seemed like, I mean, I guess it's his boss and it's like he's on call all the time, but also like there was this weird thing which was obviously played for comedy where like Bond is trying to hide this woman that he's having sex with, like from his boss, like he has no clue that James Bond is like having sex on the regular, and like Moneypenny helps him out, which I always like that relationship between them, like they're like friends and stuff. But like, I just thought it was weird that like he was trying to hide it, but obviously it's like, who cares? It was done for laughs and stuff.
Yeah, it's a cool scene.
Yeah. And then he uses his magnetic watch to unzip her dress, and I was cracking up. I was like, what the fuck?
I mean,
if you had a magnetic watch, would you do that to like unzip your zipper when you're going to use the restroom?
Hell yeah. I'd be using it for everything. Wouldn't you?
You use it to drive, you're like, ah! You put like a big magnet on your steering wheel, and you're like, it's like, what is this guy doing?
This is one of the few movies that has no cue.
That's true, yeah, which is, I do feel kind of sometimes, is missed, and it's for me.
Gotta have a year cue on movie.
Sometimes they suck, though.
That's true.
But
I'm more of an R fan.
The OG Q is the best, in my opinion.
Desmond Llewellyn.
I didn't hate the actor for the newest Q. I just think that they made him be like a little wiener. Like they treated him like shit all the time. Like Bond treated him like crap, and he had no like responses. And the old one, like if Bond said something to Q would be like, "Well, you're a fucking idiot," and he'd be like, you know what I mean? Like he would go back with them and stuff. And at the end of the day, like in that one, I think it's From Russia with Love, he like goes out of his way to like bring stuff to Bond and like
that's always
help him out and be like, you know, I didn't want you to die and stuff like that. He cared for him, even though he's just like makes his life a living hell. But it's like, yeah, it's always a minus when Q for the most part isn't in these. So agreed. So then we've got the tarot card reader.
All right.
Your first major plus.
So like
the way you said that, it has to be a plus.
Jane Seymour is a fine actress, and it's not her fault at all. But this solitaire character, like anything involving solitaire, is death. It's terrible. Like she's bad. It makes Bond seem weird and creepy.
Yeah.
Like this, he takes her virginity and stuff, and like they have no chemistry.
Yeah,
together.
I think more than anything, that's the part I thought was really weird because it's like.
And it makes Kananga like? Does he really believe in this magic shit? Like, it makes him a worse villain that he like thinks she's a.
Yeah.
It's awful. It's terrible, and it's like it almost.
I like the magic part of it, but to me, it's like.
I thought it was so bad. Really, my biggest complaint about this movie, like they just get rid of Solitaire and have Rosie be the Bond girl. She's way better.
I do agree. I think that's was that the actual person's name, Solitaire?
That's the character's name, right?
Okay. I guess I don't know. I never wrote down her name. But
one funny thing I remember is Jane Seymour was being interviewed for like the special features. And she talked about that bus chase in this movie.
Yes.
And she's like, I was in that bus the whole time. And I was thinking, like, why am I in here?
Yeah.
No one can see me. And this is super dangerous.
Yeah. That's funny, dude.
It's like these filmmakers don't know what they're doing.
I actually I like the idea of, like, Mr. Big having a flaw of, like, believing and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I think that the character that, like, she's playing is super boring.
Yep.
Like, why didn't they just have that character played by like another, or even if like just have her play that character but more like eccentric, or just get rid of that fucking character and have it be Baron Samedi.
Yeah.
Like, why were there 2 of those kind of characters in this film?
Yep.
Because if they had had Baron Samedi do that, and then he's also doing all this other shit, it would have been more Baron Samedi, and then, like, it would have actually, like, been like, holy shit, this guy's actually, like, you know, magic. But, like, why are there, like, 2? Because it's like, James Bond, like, tricked her, so it's almost like he was like, actually, your magic is bullshit, but Baron Samedi's is real? Like, what?
It's bad, man.
Yeah. I agree with you on that part of it. Like, the way they did it was like, what the fuck? Like, I think I just would have liked to have seen more Baron Samedi and less of this boring lady. She's just like...
It just tanks every scene.
Yeah. The part where, like, the whole... Especially the part, like you were saying, where, like, he's just, like, takes her virginity, and she's, like... I guess it's one of those things where, like, if she's not a virgin... she's busted! She's not a virgin! Every time, dude. And he's like, ah! That's Mr. Big flipping out. She's not a virgin. But for some reason, like, if she's not a virgin, like, her powers wouldn't work. Like,
But he's proven that she has no powers in the first place.
But, like...
Just,
But, like, it's proven... So, up to this point, she has had powers because everything that she said has come true for Mr. Big, right? I guess we'll assume that, otherwise he would have killed her. Then, Bond tricks her, and she knows about it because she says it doesn't matter. But then she does lose her powers because he has sex with her, and then Mr. Big finds out about it and doesn't kill Bond. Like, what the fuck is going on with that? Like, I don't know. Like, I thought that was weird because he just let him go, and then it was just like, you're completely right. You picked it right. And he's like, you were completely off. You know, you slept with him. Like,
you had a 50-50 chance, and you weren't even close.
Yeah.
It's like, well, she was close. Like, there's...
Yeah.
You only had
if
two
there's
choices.
a 50-50 chance.
Like, if...
Yeah. In fact, like, yeah, if there's a 50-50 chance, like, yeah, you said it's like, what?
But anyways, I had to get that off my chest because that's the one thing that really
we had to go into a
movie
deep
down.
dive about the magic of James Bond. The magic. The look, the taste, the feel.
But my favorite scenes in this movie are, you know, Bond in New York, basically being a fish out of water in Harlem.
Yes.
It's great. Wish there was more of that.
So, yeah, Bond's in a spiritual shop, and he literally lies and just goes into somebody's back room. I thought this was kind of cool, like, definitely stuff of the time. Maybe it's still in certain parts, I would assume, probably in places like New York where the space is limited, but, like, there's a parking garage, and it goes into an elevator, and it goes down to the ground floor. Mm-hmm. Like, every parking garage, I think, at least from what I can remember, me and you have ever been in, maybe it's been different if you've been, you know, somewhere by yourself or whatever on a trip. But parking garages always, you just drive down.
These are big in New York City.
Yeah.
In bigger cities, they have to use the elevators.
But, like, when me and you went, we were lucky enough, I guess, to, at least the one time, I'm sure you maybe have had to use it there, but I had never seen this, and I was like, holy crap, this is pretty legit. Nothing really to do with Bond, but first chase sequence, dude gets a fucking dart in his neck, and it, like, instantly kills him. For an extra 20, I'll take you to a Ku Klux Klan cookout. Bond's like, okay. Our first slam dunk Ernest style stuff going on here.
I like how they call it a pimp mobile. Like, we're trying to find a pimp mobile.
It's like, okay, good luck.
Like, hey,
they're gonna waste him, and he
nice
doesn't know that means to get killed. Thought that was kind of weird that James Bond wouldn't know that. But
it's always fun when Bond comes to the U.S. because
yes.
he doesn't come too often, but
I bet he does. Yeah, baby.
I can't wait for him to come to Cincinnati. The luxurious Cincinnati.
The man who cannot die, Baron Samedi.
So Baron Samedi's awesome.
Yeah.
Played by Jeffrey Holder, who
Yep.
is like a Hollywood legend.
Yeah.
Because he's also like big, one of like the top choreographer back in the day.
Yeah.
So he's like super into like theater and dance and stuff.
There's a part where like Felix Leiter says, "Yeah, there's a guy there. He looks like he's 9 feet tall." And I said, 9 fucking feet tall, dude. Like not only that, close.
He also says, "What is it? He's got a cockamamie flute in one hand." And I'm like, "You're insulting his flute? Like why? What is?"
Like to me, like the tallest man ever recorded wasn't fucking 9 feet tall, right?
I don't know, but yeah, that would be.
Or maybe he was. Maybe he was like 10 feet tall.
But that would be like a 1 in a billion.
Yeah. Also, like people that are 9 feet tall generally aren't skinny. They're like large.
Tell that to Lurch.
He's 9 feet tall. He's 9 feet tall, but he's like the same height as James Bond. So James Bond is also 9 feet tall. And so is Felix Leiter and everyone else in this picture.
Get that cockamamie flute out of his hand.
He's like, get that freaking Chiquita out of here.
What did you think of Felix in this movie, played by David Hedison?
Well, at least he didn't get his legs chopped off.
But
Minnie Coral.
He was the same actor.
Coral Jr. was there.
He was the first Felix to reprise his role and got his legs bit off.
Nice.
And got his wife killed.
And thought that was a great adventure.
Yeah.
Maybe he hated his wife.
Yeah, that's true.
And his legs. Bond's like, I will smell this woman's clothes. What do you think about that?
That's Bond being
Taking
Bond.
a big fucking whiff of a woman's clothes. We've got animal control using their skills and getting this snake into the room. And I don't know. I could be wrong here, but I have a feeling this snake was probably actually burned alive in real life, being in the 70s. But because Bond uses like hairspray and a flamethrower, or he makes a flamethrower and like burns the fucking thing.
It's always fun to see Bond hanging out in the hotel room, though.
Yeah, and there's almost always like a spider or a snake or something in there.
A trap.
Yeah. Dude comes into the room, whispers, "Is anybody home?" Which you find out that's the guy's actual name.
Yeah, so some of the best henchmen in this movie, like Whispers and Teehee, are great.
Jesus Christ.
Come on, Teehee! Because
he's always laughing. The guy with the
hook?
Yeah.
Because he's always like smiling and has a little chuckle.
Teehee.
But
can you imagine
what?
Being fucking called Teehee.
I guess I never thought about that.
I was just like...
You need your henchmen to have good names.
Oh, I mean, I agree with that. It's just kind of like funny. I mean, it is funny regardless. It's just... I
don't know why I love this so much, but when Teehee is like trying to take off his restraint and Bond says, "Butterhook."
Yeah.
That's so hilarious. I think about that all the time.
Yeah, Bond's kind of an asshole. He's a bastard. But... I mean, he's tied up. So.
According to my dad, that was when like brought down the house, like Butterhook.
Everybody was just like,
"Y'all don't make me lose my mind."
So let's talk about the longest cigar of all time.
Yeah, dude.
In this film,
I guess Roger Moore wanted to be different and not smoke cigarettes, so he smoked gigantic long cigars,
cigarillos.
Yeah,
yeah. This cigar was like long, and he smoked like 1/1000th of it.
He bogarted that shit.
Yeah, he was like. Felix said there would be moments like this. I was like, that's when like the lady, like Bond's trying to like have sex with her, like the agent, and it's like, so every time like a woman agent gets hired in the CIA or like MI6, they're like, by the way, there's this guy named James Bond that might try to fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
that's where he has another great line where he tells her, "I'm sure we'll be able to lick you into shape." Classic Bond.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, dude.
This lady flips out about a small black hat. I guess that's Baron Samedi's like calling card. Mm-hmm. Which like, does he just like put black hats on places?
It's like a tiny hat.
What?
One more great line. No sense in going off half cocked. I mean, this is why we love Bond movies.
The next day,
stupid lines.
James Bond's wearing what you wore a couple weeks ago, like a blue denim.
Oh, the Canadian tuxedo? I didn't notice that. Yeah. That's awesome.
It was more of like a leisure kind of deal, but it was... He also had his completely open and wore like a wife beater, and I was like, what's going on right now?
This is tropical wear.
Yeah. plays Live and Let Die, jaunty fun edition or rendition. Coral Jr. I said,
your favorite.
I forgot that this was one of the son of the famed Coral, whose father and Dr. No, James, let die to a dragon. So,
while James Bond never ages, his companions like have children, like generations of offspring.
His sons.
What did you think of the bus chase?
Trying to think. Oh, the double decker like Harry Potter fucking night bus deal. I thought it was
night bus.
I thought it was pretty cool, but there was a weird thing in this that I wrote down about. Like for a while, there's no music in it, which is very weird for like a James Bond chase, and that actually happens a couple times in this film.
Yeah.
Like, which is weird because it's not like they're short on music, because whenever given the chance, they'll like pipe in a different rendition of Live and Let Die. So I thought it was kind of weird. Eventually, it does come in, but
dun, dun,
yeah,
live and let die.
Bond's like. I thought there were some parts of it that I thought were kind of like weird that I didn't really understand. Like, okay, I'll tell you what my note is here, and maybe you'll be able to like make sense of it. So not the note, but like what I watched. So like they go over this water, and Bond slides his car off the road like the bus on purpose, and for some reason that makes one dude slide and another dude ramp in the water and another dude go in the weeds, and it's like that part of the chase is over. But like. Did you get like why they did that? Like they weren't avoiding his bus because he was off the road. Like
if you think too much about it, it makes no sense.
I know, but I
just wanted more stunts into. I did notice that. I was like, they saw him spin the bus, which was a cool stunt.
Yes,
and then they just lose their minds and kill themselves.
And there's obviously like a cool part of this where like the top gets shaved off when they go through like I don't know, is it like an overpass or something?
Yeah.
And then like one of the dudes is like, I got him now, and he just drives into that and like goes off the road. So it's like a little car pushing the top of a bus around.
It's a good cartoon.
Yeah. I thought it was okay. I mean, it didn't like
it was cool.
Yeah. It was just kind of like there.
Yeah.
It's definitely like you have to have a bunch of chases in Bond films.
It's better than the plane chase where they just taxi around a runway and cars crash for no reason.
It's like the Smurfs ride. It's like cool. It's for like babies. So yeah, we already talked about like how he pretty much like cheated and got that lady to like sleep with him.
Lady. She has a name. It's Solitaire.
He's like, hello, nurse. So, I'm gonna go back to actually real quick here, like, where like James Bond is fishing like Brody style on that boat, and then then he's like, who the hell lives up there? And then like James Bond, when they go off there, and like he's like, she's trying to get him to stop to be killed, and he like is like, well, let's just go over here instead. He's pretty much like finds out she's lying to him, and it's like, I'm gonna kill you after I had sex with you. She's like, you wouldn't do it, and he's like, I will do it. And then she sees like this camera that's like a scarecrow and runs away and gets reamed. But he says, make your choice. At like Live and Let Die music lines up perfectly, so he's like, I don't know how to like, you just have to see it, but it's like, make your choice lines up with like da da da, and it's like, dude,
make your choice, Gangnam Style.
He's like, but he's like on this huge kite later, and fucking he's smoking the long cigar again, and he throws it away instantly.
He Bogarts it once again.
But like, he's on this big kite high in the air, and he's lazy. He's like, doesn't give a shit. He's hardly even holding on. He's like,
I think that's supposed to be like another cool gadget.
Yeah.
But like looking at it now, it's just like he's just chilling on a
big
glider.
kite, a big black kite in the sky that's supposed to be at night, but it seems like it's not day for night.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then like he comes down and like kicks some dude that's like to his death essentially, like randomly, and he just
gotta up that henchman body count.
It's weird because it's like he barely touches him, and the guy's like, "Oh!" And I'm like, "Okay."
He probably could have easily avoided it too, but he just takes it like a champ.
So yeah, like we already talked about, like the sex. Baron Samedi shows up for the first time, kind of, and he's just like, "It's going to be a beautiful day, boss." And then he's playing that cockamamie flute, as Felix Leiter said. It does kind of sound like shit, but that doesn't really have anything to do with the flute, because he uses the flute as like a distraction, essentially. They walk away, and he's like, "Okay, they're coming."
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Mr. Big and Baron Samedi are like top 5 villain and henchman in the series. They're awesome. I
used to like love Jaws the most, but I think that like Baron Samedi's probably like
he's
my
cool,
favorite.
man.
As far as henchman goes, for sure, because spoilers at the end of the film, he's like,
he can cheat death, and he can like turn himself into a mannequin and like fall apart.
He essentially like fourth walls the movie. But
like he got his head blown off, like a chunk of his head blown off, and he's like,
and his eyes like roll back and
turn into a human mannequin.
He falls into like a thing of snakes, and he's fine.
He does the dance of death.
He's like, ooh,
yeah.
So, hey, what's up, Jim? What's happening, baby? Just ease back. It's the dude from New York.
Taxi driver.
It's like, where are they at now? Like
Nolans.
Yeah. So, cars crash into planes, planes into cars, cars into planes, hovercrafts. This is
a pretty weak.
He gives Mrs. Bell a lesson, and she says, "Holy shit!"
It's a classic thing in the 70s and 80s of like having nice
an old
woman
lady like
say something bad.
Say something ridiculous, like in
Running Man,
Blazing Saddles. Like, I mean,
I choose Ben Richards. He's one mean motherfucker.
Yeah. So, Agent Dude watching a funeral again. Will he be murdered like his friend? Swerve. Guess not. We already talked about the happy funeral. I would have to say, what are your thoughts on that? Would you like to go out like that? Would you like to have a funeral like that?
No. Too much attention. I'm not big into spectacle. Would you?
Probably, yeah.
I mean, it's a cool thing to like, because it's not a sad occasion. It's like a happy celebration. So
do you think that like the most efficient way for like, say like if there's like this horrible accident and like everybody's laying down, like them to come along and just put the coffin over people, scoop them up,
or just
your face? You were like,
I wasn't sure where you were going
with this.
Just roast them right there with flamethrower style. Turn them into ash.
Bond. He's like, So they go to this bar, and Bond doesn't order a martini. He gets a bourbon with no ice.
Yep.
Thought that was kind of interesting.
I think it's Roger Moore just trying to be a little bit different, separate himself a little bit from Sean.
But Felix gets 2 Sazeracs. Do you know what a Sazerac is, Matt?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, I had to look this up.
Once again, you're putting in the man hours.
Well, I wasn't sure. I don't know. I know that you partake in alcohol, but I wasn't sure if you are a mixed drink person as much, or... So, Sazerac is a local variation of a cognac or whiskey cocktail originally from New Orleans. The drink is most traditionally a combination of cognac or rye whiskey, absinthe, Pachon's bitters, and sugar. So it sounds kind of more like a sweet drink.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit sweet.
Kind of like a, I don't know, like pina colada maybe or something. Pina coladas are sweet too, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be like taste like that, but I think it'll be like sweet drink. Just too sweet drink. Another Live and Let Die rendition, this time sung by a woman on stage in the bar to James Bond, so the theme of the song is known by the character.
Yep. Good stuff.
Ghostbuster style. Yeah. Honestly, I like that. I wish every film had like something like that. It's kind of like
It's just for fun.
It's like what's it called? The Jack of all trades. He's in his own fucking theme song at the beginning of the show. I think too many films take themselves too seriously. He gets taken underground. So Mr. Big appeared earlier in the film. You see a little bit of him. In this, you see more of him. And it's fucking horrifying because it's Kananga in like a prosthetic face that he's wearing to portray this Mr. Big character.
Were you fooled by the shocking reveal? It looks exactly like Yaphet Kotto with weird stuff on his face.
But it's also like no one in the history of anything has ever looked like that. It's like a claymation character walking around the set. So like,
I do like the way Yaphet Kotto plays the two characters like differently.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure.
Mr. Big is more like a hood type character, and Kananga is very like stylish and sophisticated, like dapper gentleman, kind of like Bond.
Yeah. So he says he rips his face off, quite revealing. I'm like, that's just
come on,
a
Bond.
statement. Like, no shit.
So one of his better lines.
He's giving away 2 tons of free heroin worth over $1 billion, which is $6.6 billion today. Until the addict numbers doubles, then he'll jack up the price. Probably
fiendish plot.
Yeah, pretty. It's like it's not going to set the world on fire, but it's probably going to cause more. It's probably going to cause more harm to everyone than like taking over the world would.
He's going to turn everyone into junkies.
Yeah,
kind of like now.
So like Kananga is super occultish. He's going to snip off 007's little finger on the first wrong answer. And the second it goes off to cutting off his cock. I was like, Jesus!
Quite an escalation.
Yeah, not even like, okay, we're going to take like this finger and this finger. It's like, first finger, second one's your cock, third one, we're going to cut your head off. Okay. 3 strikes and you're out. Tense scene, which Bond gets, he gets knocked out, but like it's a tense scene because she's like, essentially like trying to give this answer and stuff, and you're like, obviously, they do a good job, but Bond's not gonna get his fucking finger cut off. But at the same time, I was like, oh shit, dude, because it's like I don't see somebody's fucking finger get cut off.
Yeah.
Dude from earlier Whispers carries Bond away under his right arm like a baby.
It was like funny. A sack of meat.
Yeah, he was like, I was like, one arm took him away. Jesus.
Whispers, underrated henchman.
Yeah. Baron Samedi has the best laugh. He was loving it. Can you do a Baron Samedi laugh?
No. I was thinking it's kind of like a Herman Munster, but not really. I think that's not a good comparison.
Yeah, I mean, it's got that same, like the
bass,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
But this is one of the classic scenes where Bond runs across the gators.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually had that note. Bond escapes. I guess I should just put runs, not walking. He's not like just like taking a stroll.
Which that was a real stunt that a guy actually did.
Oh yeah,
like they tied the gators down, and then he ran across their backs. And he did it like 5 different times. And there's footage of all the different takes.
I'm sure the gators were like,
yeah, slight bit of cruelty there.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So then we get into like, I don't know. We might have differing opinions on this. I don't know how you feel about this part of the film, but like, we got this dude. It's like I got a regular Ben-Hur doing 95 down here, and the racist cop J.W. Pepper like shows up.
The classic character J.W. Pepper.
This kind of becomes a fucking like police side plot that takes over the film for like 20 minutes.
I will say, like, obviously that character is like used for humor,
right?
According to my dad, totally worked back in the day. Like,
yeah,
poking fun at J.W. Pepper,
racist, I guess maybe.
He was so popular that he came back in the next Bond movie.
Yeah, I remember that. He's on vacation at one point, isn't he?
Yeah, they're in like somewhere in Asia,
and they do like a flip over him again or something.
But I will say I really love the speedboat chase in this movie. I think it's awesome. I think one of the best action sequences.
I think the problem is they keep cutting away from that way too much, in my opinion. Like, they don't let that like be its own thing, and they kind of ruin it, in my opinion, by kind of making this more about like the everyday like person than Bond, which I was like, he takes a backseat in his own film to this side plot, which
I don't know why that was a weird choice, because like, I mean, Smokey and the Bandit came out after this,
right?
So it was like, are they trying to do Smokey and the Bandit? But not really. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the chase itself
was awesome, especially the ending where like he like sprays this stuff in the dude's eyes and like he can't see, and then he like pushes him into this bigger boat, and then it like ramps up and blows up in it. And the big jump where they jump over like the dam or whatever was a world record at the time. Nice.
So
yeah, it was really cool. Like, I like the action. Like, there's nothing to say bad about that. It's just like
when they're sliding the boats over land and stuff. I'm like, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Real stunts.
The funny thing is, like, it almost reminded me of like when you watch a movie and like it's something that somebody had an idea about and it should have been on the chopping room floor, deleted scene, but like the people were just like the people in charge were like such big like friends of the person, or like it made them laugh that they just put it in and they didn't care how it would fit into the rest of the film, kind of like in a Marvel film where like they'll go out of control with the comedy, or like other films we've seen where it's like, why was this kind of kept in? Like you said, obviously at the time it probably worked more, but like, yeah.
The world went crazy for J.W. Pepper.
It just kind of took away from the actual film. Yeah. But having said that,
it's odd, definitely. Especially for a Bond movie.
Sign that says, "Make boating a fun sport. 3 miles per hour, please." So, scuba diving antics, folk style.
Yeah.
Roger
Moore, back in the water.
Yeah, gets in his stuff. He gets in his wetsuit and shows him how it's done.
One really cool thing was they showed Kananga's like lair, and that thing is awesome. Yeah. But you barely see it. Like you only see it for a couple shots. I'm like, dude, there should have been more scenes in here. This place is sweet.
It's really weird that they had to like cut.
Usually when there's a lair, like that's a big part of the movie.
Yeah, like with the volcano lair with Donald Pleasance, it's like a huge part. I mean, they probably had to cut it out for all the like cop antics.
Yeah, we need more pepper.
Yeah,
less salt.
Yeah, peppered this film with dog shit. So they're having a huge celebration in a graveyard, and I was like, "Is this Tombs of the Blind Dead?"
Nice.
So we've got a lot of people that are like super. I guess they follow whatever the faith or whatever this is.
Like voodoo.
Yeah. And then like he comes up out of the ground, and it's like, dude, like they put a top hat on the ground, and he's like comes out of the ground, and Bond's like, what the fuck? He's like, huh?
It's scary.
And then he like shoots him in the head, like you said, and it like turns it into a dummy, and he's like, and then he comes out of the ground again, gets him thrown into a coffin with snakes. It's just, I think to me, if I was Bond, I'd be like shitting my pants.
Well, yeah,
because
or
it's
any
like
human.
You tried to like
because it's unnatural.
Because he's killed a ton of people. Yeah, so it's like he's used to killing people and that's it. But like, literally, he killed this dude and nothing happened. So they're in an underground lair, mini me.
Yeah, want more lair antics.
So Kananga's like loving this gun that Bond has, and he's like, "What is it?" And he's like, "Oh, it's like a gun that shoots like highly compressed air pellets." Like, I didn't understand what the fucking point of that was, but he shoots this couch, and it transforms the couch from a couch to a balloon, and it like envelops
Whispers. He scares Whispers for no reason. It's like, dude, that's just mean. Like, that's your henchman. Be nice to him.
What has Whispers ever done for Kananga, though?
He carried Bond out like a sack of potatoes and
that's true.
Put him under the alligator trap.
It's worth a good scare. He's like, loud in the fuck up whispers.
So this villain death is.
Are we talking about Kananga? So, yeah, I guess we'll skip to that because I was going to talk about how like they have sharks with freaking laser beams that come in for some reason. Like they don't have laser beams, but like
yeah,
they're doing the Bond sharks again.
It's the classic scene of like, why don't you just shoot them?
Yeah,
like set up an elaborate death.
Yeah,
for him.
it's essentially it's like Austin Powers.
Right.
They put him on a thing and sharks are there and they're slowly lowering him in.
The overly elaborate dipping device.
Yeah, it's like, okay,
why?
Yeah, but I don't even know. So I'm going to try to describe this, but
this is so stupid. I can't
puts
believe
this tiny canister of compressed air into Kananga's mouth. And instead of spitting it out, he leaves it in his mouth and he inflates himself just like a balloon. Like he turns into like Funky Kong and like transforms himself into a man-shaped like inflatable. And when he hits the roof and blows up, but nothing comes out. There's no blood. There's no guts. It's like
a balloon popping.
Yeah, essentially, it's not the device that James Bond put in his mouth wasn't a compressed air thing. It was a magical turn whatever it goes off into a balloon.
It's so bad.
Yeah, it looks so fucking shit too, but it's hilarious because it's like he's like. It's like Mario when he would get the thing in Mario World and be like, it's like, what?
This is like something out of Looney Tunes.
Yeah, it was so ridiculous.
I listened to this podcast a few years
Okay.
ago called James Bonding, and they had an argument about the worst, dumbest moment in all of James Bond, and like it was this one, and the time where the pigeon does a double take when he sees Bond like he like turns the thing into a hovercraft.
I forgot about that.
But it's bad,
That was
man.
the one movie where like the bird shows the dude. Oh, it's in with Jean-Claude Van Damme where the
Hard Target.
bird shows him where the fucking dude's hiding.
They point out
the
the
bird's
clues.
like,
It's like crow, crow.
yeah, it's like what? So I almost like as stupid as that was. This is, I think, just as stupid. So all this happens. The lady's tied up, and she says, "Where's Kananga?" She wasn't
Really?
blindfolded. Where's Kananga?
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
She wasn't like, she didn't have anything in her ears. He says, he did always have an inflated opinion of himself.
Ah, nice comeback.
First, that doesn't answer the question. Second, how did she not see his balloon body hit the ceiling and explode everywhere? Like, loudly. It was like, boom! And she's like, where's Kananga? Like, dude, this chick is an idiot. So then they say, she's like, what do we do now? And he says, we take the train.
Whatever the fuck I
And he like walks off of the cliff. So Bond mansplains to her about gin rummy.
Oh yeah.
And she instantly wins, and he rolls his eyes. And then he's putting down the bed, and he's like, just testing an old adage. Unlucky at cards. That's it. So then we
gotta have one last fight.
Yeah, we got
Teehee.
Dude with hook and mailbag.
I kind of felt bad for him in the end because Bond just like lays waste to him and kills him. It's like, dude.
Yeah, it's also like weird because like he gets on board via a mailbag, but like they wouldn't fucking be like, wow, that's a heavy mailbag.
Yeah.
Or like, why is it one man-sized thing in here? But yeah, like you said, fight ensues. He gets thrown out the window essentially, and like he cuts his fucking thing so he can't use his like hook. And like the whole time she didn't know what was going on because she's like up in this like the bed or whatever. And she comes out. She's like, "That wasn't funny. What were you doing?" And he says, "Just being disarming, darling." I'm like, what? She was in a thing.
I like it.
Yeah. So, like I said before, I used to like Jaws, my favorite, but Baron Samedi, definitely. I don't know. I like them both. It's just like he kind of takes the cake. It's kind of a shame that he never shows up again. But, I guess.
I mean, they both can't be killed.
That's true.
Jaws fell out of an airplane and was fine.
I mean, I guess he's fucking dead as hell now, but because he's in space and he like eventually will run out of air.
Will he?
Yes.
He could survive falling out of a plane.
Well, his wife is dead as fuck. She's not invincible.
That's true.
So he's probably gonna kill himself.
Jaws just sad and alone up in space.
Yeah. He's dead as fuck. Dude. He's gotta be. Did I ever tell you about like when I went to a convention and he was there?
Richard Cale?
Yeah. And it was like the saddest shit because like nobody was going up to him and
what?
talking to him. Yeah.
Dude, he should be a superstar.
Because he was oldest. I mean, he was. Him being old doesn't have anything to do with it, but he was older, and I mean, by that point, nobody really knew what the fuck he was from, you know. So it was like, you know, his big claims to fame obviously are Jaws and then being Happy Gilmore. So
I beg to differ. Happy Gilmore accomplished that feat no more than an hour ago. Well, good for Happy Gilmore. Oh my god!
So, but yeah, you know what I mean. It's like, but anyway, has one of the coolest endings of James Bond film.
I agree. There's never been another one like it.
Yeah.
Because there's no magic in any of the other Bond movies.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's why this is probably one of the greatest endings and villains. It's just like, what the fuck were they smoking?
It works.
Yeah. So, at the end, it says, the end of Live and Let Die, James Bond will return in The Man with the Golden Gun. And I just have to say, like, I loved when they knew what they were doing with these films, and they would let you know what the next Bond film was.
They should have said Sheriff Pepper will return.
Nobody shows up. Like, Bond killed after the 8th film. I love back with, now it's just like,
it was a cool tradition when they would announce
kind of a
clusterfuck
because it's like, they have to take 20 years between each film. They're like, what are we going to steal from that we did before? But, I mean, the films have been going on for a while, so I guess that's something. Do you have anything else to say? What would you give this film?
I'm going to go 7.95, my standard answer. I think, like, this is definitely mid-level, right in the middle, probably, of the Bond series for me.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You did, like, a whisper there.
You're like the whispers. There's stuff, I mean, the solitaire stuff really derails it for me, but other than that, it's really good.
Like the game. You were playing solitaire while you were watching the film. You're like, fuck, I'm not winning.
How about you?
I'll probably give it like a perfect
nice
1.95.
I mean, we love
just because Baron Semity's in it. I mean, there are other reasons too, but as much as I had things I didn't like about it, there are other things that more than made up for it. But like you said, like Bond is Bond. Mm-hmm. Bondage. So I guess go ahead and next week is
the Buddy Shots will return.
Yes, Buddy Shots will return next week, and go ahead and I'll let you tell everybody what it is.
So next week, the main event will be Crimson Tide from 1995, and the Weird Watches is Threshold. No connection, just two things I wanted to watch and talk about. So until next time. Hey, Mike, where'd you go? Well, I guess that's the end of the episode. See you next time. Bye.